Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rifles of the World. I'm Mike B, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Canadian Long Branch number 4 Mark 1 rifle. So starting in about 1942 at the Long Branch manufacturing facility in Canada, the British had come up with this design in the 1930s and started mass producing it in 1941, and the Canadians were not far behind. They pretty much manufactured the same rifle with a couple little changes. One, they definitely use the ladder sight versus just the L flip sight of most of the number 4 Mark 1s. And if you'll notice, the rest of the rifle is exactly the same as the number 4 Mark 1, except for the fact that there's no little push pin to get the bolt out. You just rotate the bolt head on this little channel in the receiver and flip it out to remove the bolt. That's the only thing that's different between a number 4 Mark 1 and a number 4 Mark 1 with an asterisk. I'll show you that in a second on the receiver. We'll flip the rifle over. But from a distance, you can't tell that this thing is a Canadian rifle. You have to get a lot closer, and I'll show you how to identify it. These things are amazing. These things were used from about, like I said, about 1942, 1941, 42, till it was replaced by the L1A1 or the C1A1, sorry, Canadian. And these things have been used in just about every single conflict around the world since they were invented. And what's weird is like this replaced the number 1 Mark III, or the short magazine Lee Enfield rifle, and it's actually heavier than that rifle because it's got a little bit of a heavier barrel on it, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, that's just a little fun fact. The old school sights that were located on the barrel, the V-notch sights, were replaced by an aperture sight. Like I said, this one's got the ladder sight that flips up. You can graduate the distances. This little spring broke. Usually it'd be, the thing would be sitting flush like that, but my little spring broke and I never replaced it. So yeah, it's just an aperture sight, right, with the ladder sight. And the front sight is a very large, easy to use battle sight consisting of a front sight post and a huge picture with the fin protectors on it. I actually love these sights. They're really easy to acquire. For being aperture sights, they're actually battle sights. Most aperture sights, like on U.S. weapons, are so small they're considered target sights. But these, you can see how big that is. It's pretty interesting. Still got the essential, the idea of the short magazine Lee Enfield, but the action was kind of changed up and improved a little bit for ease of machining and ease of use. It's a little bit more simple. As you can see, this part, the charger bridge, where you use charger clips to reload this weapon, is not rounded anymore. It's actually just flat. So that's for ease of machining, and it really makes no difference if that thing's round or flat. So yeah, you can tell the stock is made out of, this looks like beech wood, which is pretty common. Earlier number 4 Mark 1s, British ones, were made out of like walnut and stuff because they weren't really rushed. Every single country had to rush weapon manufacturing when World War II really got heated in the early 40s. So that's why you see more of this beech wood, because it was easier and faster to work with. So that's what this stock is. You'll notice in the forward handguard, the front handguard, there's little wood reliefs cut in there. That's for if you're in a humid environment and the stock starts expanding, especially when you're firing it, it gets really hot. It will kind of relieve the pressure and it won't crack the little piece of wood, because this is one of the most fragile pieces right here. Not all of the rifles had this, and I don't know if it's just unique to my rifle. I pretty much every long branch that I've seen has got those cut in it, and these little horizontal cuts in the rear handguard, which is pretty interesting. So that's how I can tell from a distance that it's possibly a long branch, but I've seen some British rifles have these features too. Again, we're going to go ahead and flip the rifle over, and then we'll talk about the markings, how they're different, or what they actually look like on a Canadian rifle. And then we'll talk about the magazine, and then we'll wrap the video up. Okay, so as you can see right here, the Canadian rifles will have the marking on the left side of the receiver, much like the Savage manufactured ones. That's a U.S. property right there. British ones are going to have it on the opposite side of this wristband right there is what I call it. I don't know what it is, receiver band or whatever. But it'll be on the other side, just like on a number 1 Mark III. So yeah, it was pretty interesting that the Canadians actually produced these. I think they're better, but that's just my opinion. I think the Canadians put more put more time and more, what do you call it, just effort into producing these and making them really nice. So this one was made in 1943, as you can see right there. And you see the asterisk because it's the model with the little cutout in the receiver rail right there instead of the little push button thing for the bolt release. 1943. This is actually my first deer rifle ever. I had the Arasaka in my collection, if you've watched my videos, but obviously I couldn't find ammo for it. Little did I know that these fire almost the same exact cartridge, just a different rim on it. But anyway, so I picked this up at a gun show when I was, I don't know, like 12, or my dad did rather. And I paid him the money. So, oh my gosh, it was a straw purchase. Not really. Buying it for your kid, doesn't matter. Anyway, so I paid him the money, and I think I paid $200 for this thing back in the day. And got this thing, and those notches in the stock on the other side, I forgot that those are going to probably come up, are not kill marks from World War II. Those are just me from being a kid, not knowing the value of a surplus gun was going to increase that much, and marking how many deer I killed until I figured out that that wasn't a good idea. So this thing's taken more than 3, but that's all I got to destroying the stock on this. I got to 3. So anyway, that's how you can tell the British rifles from the Canadian ones. If it says Long Branch, it's Canadian, right? The Canadians did use some British arms, but they were manufacturing their own, and I like these better. So the magazine, the 10-round box magazine, can either be replaced and reloaded that way, or how the British and the, well, Commonwealth forces actually did it, was just use the chargers and use the bridge right there. So yeah, technically Canada was still part of the Commonwealth in the Second World War, but they were starting to become a little bit more autonomous and independent, which is why they manufactured their own rifles. In the First World War, they were using British manufactured rifles, and the Ross rifle really never took off in numbers, so they were just using the short magazine Lee Enfield. But that's World War I history, different rifle, different video. But that's pretty cool. Canada's first officially mass-produced and used rifle, and I love it. I'll never get rid of this rifle. It's really cool. So again, they used these from about 1942. Canada did until, let's say, the mid-1950s. These were used in the Korean War by Canadian troops and British troops as well, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so I hope you learned something on this video. Again, I love this rifle. I haven't even made a video on me shooting this yet. Probably should get around to doing that. I will this year, I promise. Yeah, so go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And consider clicking the link in the description to become a supporter on Patreon for $1 a month. We do a lot of cool stuff. You get access to videos that I won't be posting on YouTube. You can comment on a bunch of stuff. We do polls. It's very interactive. Do giveaways too. And it's just a lot more fun, and it helps me be able to afford making shooting videos for the channel. Like we do ballistic tests and stuff like that. So you can check that out and become a supporter. It's totally worth it. And you get some really cool stuff by doing that. So thanks for watching, everybody. And if you got any comments or anything and you don't want to become a supporter on Patreon, go to my Facebook page, Mike B on Facebook, and ask a question or make a post on there and talk about the video. So hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video.